It was a normal Tuesday morning when everything changed. The sun rose as usual, painting the sky with soft pinks and oranges. People all over the world woke up, had breakfast, and started their daily routines. No one knew that this day would be written in history books forever. At 9:37 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, every screen on Earth went black. TVs, computers, phones, all of them. Then a message appeared. It was in a strange language no one had ever seen before, but somehow everyone could understand it. The message was simple: "We are here." Panic spread quickly. In New York, cars stopped in the middle of busy streets. In Tokyo, crowds gathered in front of giant screens in the city center. In a small village in Africa, people huddled around the only TV in town. The whole world held its breath, waiting for what would happen next. Then they appeared. Huge spaceships, bigger than any building on Earth, came out of nowhere. They looked like giant silver discs shining in the sunlight. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They filled the skies above every major city on the planet. In Washington, D.C., the president was rushed to a secret bunker. In Moscow, military leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. In Beijing, scientists worked frantically to understand what was happening. All around the world, governments tried to figure out what to do. The aliens didn't attack. They just waited. Their ships hovered silently in the sky. Hours passed, and nothing happened. People started to come out of their homes, looking up at the strange visitors with a mix of fear and wonder. As the day went on, world leaders finally agreed on a plan. They would form a United Nations emergency response team. This team would speak for all of Earth. It would try to talk to the aliens and find out what they wanted. The team met in New York City, at the UN building. There were politicians, scientists, and military leaders from every country. They argued for hours about what to do. Some wanted to attack the aliens right away. Others thought we should try to make friends with them. Just as the sun was setting, the aliens sent another message. This time, it wasn't so friendly. The message appeared on every screen again. "Surrender or face annihilation. You have 24 hours to decide." The room fell silent. The weight of the whole world's fate was on their shoulders. What should they do? Fight against an enemy they knew nothing about, or give up without even trying? Dr. Sarah Chen, a young scientist from China, stood up. "We can't give up," she said. "Earth is our home. We have to fight for it." Her words seemed to wake everyone up. They realized she was right. They couldn't just hand over their planet to these strangers. The team worked through the night. They made plans, sent messages to every country, and got ready for whatever might happen next. They knew the next day would change everything. As the sun rose on a new day, people all over the world woke up to the news. Earth was not going to surrender. The response team sent a message back to the aliens. "Earth is not for sale. We stand united against any threat." Now, all they could do was wait. Would the aliens attack? Would they try to talk? No one knew. But one thing was clear: the people of Earth were not going to give up without a fight. The clock was ticking. 24 hours. That's all the time they had. But in those 24 hours, something amazing happened. For the first time in history, the whole world came together. Old enemies became allies. Rich countries promised to help poor ones. Everyone understood that they were all in this together. As the deadline got closer, the world held its breath. Whatever happened next, Earth was ready. They might not have fancy spaceships or advanced weapons, but they had something the aliens might not expect: the unbreakable human spirit. The next chapter in Earth's history was about to begin, and no one knew how it would end. The 24-hour deadline was up. The whole world waited, holding its breath. What would the aliens do now? Suddenly, all screens lit up again. The alien message was short: "Your defiance is noted. Prepare for consequences." In the UN Emergency Response Team's headquarters, people looked at each other with worry. But there was also determination in their eyes. They had made their choice. Earth would not surrender. General Maria Rodriguez, a tough woman from Brazil, stood up. "We need to get ready," she said. "If they want to fight, we'll give them one." Everyone nodded. It was time to prepare for war. All over the world, militaries went on high alert. Soldiers said goodbye to their families, not knowing if they'd ever see them again. But there was no time for tears. They had a world to defend. In secret labs deep underground, scientists worked day and night. They studied the alien ships, trying to find any weakness. Dr. John Smith, a brilliant physicist from England, had an idea. What if we could disrupt their communication? He said, if they can't talk to each other, maybe we can beat them. The idea spread like wildfire. Soon, scientists from every country were working together on this plan. They didn't care about old rivalries anymore. The only thing that mattered was saving Earth. Meanwhile, regular people weren't just sitting around. In every city, town, and village, people were getting ready. They dug shelters, stored food, and learned basic survival skills. Nobody knew what was coming, but they were determined to face it together. In New York, Sarah, a young teacher, organized her neighbors. They turned the local school into a shelter. "We have to look out for each other," she told them. "That's how we'll survive." In a small town in India, Raj, a computer programmer, had another idea. He started teaching people how to use simple radios. "If the aliens take out our phones and internet," he said, "we'll need a way to communicate." The aliens watched all of this from their ships. They were surprised. They had conquered many worlds before, but they had never seen anything like this. Humans weren't just waiting to be attacked. They were fighting back before the battle even started. Up in the alien command ship, the leader of the invasion force was worried. This wasn't going according to plan. Humans were supposed to be scared, divided, easy to conquer. But instead, they were united and defiant. Back on Earth, world leaders made a bold decision. They would reveal everything they knew about the aliens to the public. No more secrets. They believed that knowledge was power, and every human needed to be powered up for the fight ahead. In a global broadcast, the President of the United Nations spoke to everyone on Earth. "We face the greatest threat in human history," she said, "but we face it together. Every one of us has a role to play. Together, we will show these aliens that humanity is not to be underestimated." As she spoke, something amazing happened. All around the world, people cheered. They weren't cheering because they weren't scared. They were scared, but they were also brave. They were ready to stand up for their home. In space, the aliens watched this broadcast. They saw millions of humans, all different but all united. For the first time, the alien leader felt a flicker of doubt. Maybe this planet wouldn't be so easy to conquer after all. On Earth, preparations continued. Every day, new plans were made. New weapons were invented. New alliances were formed. Humanity was changing, growing stronger. They were no longer just people living on a planet. They were Earth's defenders. As the sun set on another day, nobody knew what tomorrow would bring. But one thing was certain. When the aliens finally attacked, they wouldn't find a scared, divided planet. They would find a world united, a humanity standing as one. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity was ready. Days passed, but the alien ships didn't move. They just hung in the sky, silent and scary. But Earth wasn't quiet. All over the planet, people were getting ready. In the mountains of Switzerland, deep underground, a secret base was buzzing with activity. This was the heart of Earth's defense plan. Scientists, soldiers, and leaders from all countries worked here, day and night. Dr. Emma Chen, the brilliant scientist from China, had a breakthrough. "I think I've found a way to see through their shields," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. If she was right, this could change everything. Meanwhile, in the deserts of Arizona, something incredible was happening. Huge machines were building a massive gun. It was bigger than anything humans had ever made before. They called it the Earth Defender. Nobody knew if it would work, but they had to try. All around the world, regular people were doing their part too. In Brazil, farmers learned how to hide food underground. In Russia, old military bunkers were cleaned out and made ready. In Australia, people practiced living in the outback, away from cities. But it wasn't all about fighting. Some people had different ideas. In India, a group of musicians started playing concerts every night. Music brings us together, they said. If we're together, we're stronger. Soon, these concerts were happening all over the world. In Africa, tribe leaders met with city mayors. They shared old wisdom about surviving in tough times. Our ancestors faced many challenges. An old chief said, "Now we face the stars. But we are ready." Even kids were helping. In schools, they learned about space and aliens. They came up with ideas that adults hadn't thought of. A 10-year-old girl in Japan had an idea about using mirrors to blind the alien ships. Scientists were actually testing it. But not everything was going well. Some people were scared. They didn't want to fight. In some places, there were protests. "We should try to make peace," they shouted. It was a tough question. Should Earth fight or try to talk? The world leaders had a big meeting about this. They decided to do both. They would keep preparing to fight, but they would also try to talk to the aliens again. They sent a new message to the alien ships. "We want peace, but we are ready for war. Let's talk." Days passed. No answer came. The alien ships just stayed there, silent. As they waited, Earth kept getting stronger. Old enemies became friends. Poor countries and rich countries helped each other. Everyone shared what they knew. In labs, scientists made new discoveries every day. They found ways to make stronger materials, faster computers, better medicines. "We're learning so much," one scientist said. "In a way, the aliens have already changed our world." Military leaders from all countries worked together too. They made plans for how to fight on land, in the sea, and in space. Soldiers trained hard, learning new skills. But the biggest change was in how people felt. At first, everyone was scared. But now, there was hope. People believed they could win. They were proud of what they had done together. One day, a little boy asked his dad, "Are we going to be okay?" The dad looked up at the sky, where the alien ships hung. Then he looked at his son and smiled. "Yes," he said, "we're going to be okay." Know why? Because we're not giving up. We're Earth. This is our home, and we're going to protect it. As the sun set that day, the alien ships were still there. But Earth was different. It was stronger, more united, more ready than ever before. Whatever the aliens were planning, Earth was prepared. The whole planet was holding its breath, waiting. The next move was up to the aliens, but one thing was sure. When they made that move, they would find that Earth was not an easy target. The real test was coming, and Earth was as ready as it could be. The day everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. It was a sunny Tuesday morning when the alien ships started to move. People all over the world stopped what they were doing and looked up at the sky. One ship, bigger than the others, slowly descended towards New York City. It was heading for the United Nations building. The world held its breath. Inside the UN, leaders from every country sat in tense silence. They had been chosen to represent Earth in this historic meeting. Among them was Dr. Sarah Chen, the scientist who had made breakthroughs in understanding alien technology. As the ship landed, a hush fell over the city. Streets that were usually busy and noisy were now quiet. Everyone was watching, waiting to see what would happen next. The ship's door opened slowly. A ramp extended to the ground, and then they appeared. The aliens were tall, at least 7 feet high. They had blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Their eyes were large and completely black. They walked on 2 legs, but their arms were long, almost touching the ground. 5 aliens walked down the ramp. The one in the middle wore a golden robe. This was clearly their leader. As they approached the UN building, cameras from all over the world captured every moment. Billions of people watched on screens, holding their breath. Inside, the Earth leaders stood up as the aliens entered the room. For a moment, both sides just looked at each other. Then the alien leader spoke. To everyone's surprise, they spoke in perfect English. "We are the Galactic Empire," the alien said. "We have come to claim this world." The room was silent. Then the Secretary General of the UN stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice steady. "We are not yours to claim. We are a free world, and we intend to stay that way." The alien leader's black eyes seemed to narrow. "You do not understand," they said. "We are not asking. We are telling. Your world now belongs to the Empire." Dr. Chen couldn't stay quiet any longer. She stood up. "Why?" she asked. "Why do you want our world? What makes Earth so special?" The alien turned to look at her. For a moment, Dr. Chen thought she saw surprise in those strange eyes. "Your world is unique," the alien said. "It has resources we have not seen elsewhere. And you humans are interesting. You could be useful to the Empire." The room burst into angry whispers. "Useful? Like slaves." The UN Secretary General raised her hand for silence. "We are not interested in being useful to your empire," she said. "We are our own people. We have our own destiny." The alien leader made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Destiny? You barely understand the universe. You have not even left your own solar system." "That may be true," Dr. Chen said, "but we learn fast, and we're not afraid to stand up for ourselves." The alien leader looked at her again. "You are brave," they said, "but bravery will not save you. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. You cannot hope to resist us." "We can," the Secretary General said. "And we will. This meeting is over. You have our answer. Earth is not for sale, not for conquest, not for anything. We stand united against any threat, including you." The alien leader's face didn't change, but the air in the room seemed to get colder. "Very well," they said. "You have made your choice. Prepare yourselves. The Galactic Empire does not take rejection lightly." With that, they turned and left. The Earth leaders watched in silence as the aliens boarded their ship and took off. As soon as the ship was gone, the room exploded into action. People were shouting, arguing, planning. But Dr. Chen just stood there, thinking. She had seen something in the alien leader's eyes, something that gave her hope. They had been surprised by humans. They hadn't expected this level of resistance. Maybe, just maybe, Earth had a chance after all. Outside, as news of the meeting spread, people around the world began to prepare. The fight for Earth was about to begin, and every human on the planet was ready to do their part. The aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive species. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The world didn't have to wait long. Just 3 days after the meeting at the UN, the alien ships started to move. This was it. The battle for Earth was about to begin. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The ships just repositioned themselves. But then, without warning, beams of bright blue light shot down from the ships. They hit major cities all over the world. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, all were hit at the same time. But something strange happened. Where the beams hit, nothing was destroyed. Instead, all electronics just stopped working. In the secret underground base in Switzerland, alarms were going off. General Maria Rodriguez looked at the screens in disbelief. "They're not destroying cities," she said. "They're disabling our technology." Dr. Emma Chen nodded. "It's smart," she said. "They want to conquer us, not destroy us. They're trying to make us helpless." But the aliens had made a mistake. Humans weren't helpless without their technology. And they had been preparing for this. All over the world, people put their emergency plans into action. In cities, people used bicycles and old cars that didn't need electronics. In the countryside, farmers used horses to pull their equipment. And then, Earth fought back. Hidden bases all over the planet activated their secret weapons. Giant electromagnet pulses shot up into the sky, hitting the alien ships. Some of the smaller ships started to fall. In the oceans, submarines that had been hiding deep underwater surfaced. They fired special missiles that the scientists had developed. These missiles could penetrate the alien shields. The aliens were shocked. They hadn't expected this level of resistance. They thought turning off Earth's technology would end the fight before it began. They were wrong. In Africa, tribes used ancient hunting techniques to bring down alien ground troops. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous people used their knowledge of the land to set traps for the invaders. Even in the big cities, people fought back. They used whatever they could find: sticks, stones, homemade weapons. It wasn't high-tech, but it was effective. The aliens tried to respond. They sent more ships, more troops. But everywhere they went, they met resistance. In the skies above New York, a dramatic battle was taking place. Earth's few remaining fighter jets, protected from the alien technology, engaged in dogfights with alien craft. It looked like a scene from a movie, but it was real. One young pilot, Sarah Johnson, became a hero that day. She took down 3 alien ships before they could attack the city. As her jet streaked across the sky, people on the ground cheered. But the battle wasn't only happening on Earth. Up in space, the satellites that humans had secretly modified came to life. They started to interfere with the alien ships' communications. Back in the Swiss base, Dr. Chen was working frantically. She had discovered something important about the alien technology. If we can disrupt their main ship's energy field, she said, we might be able to shut down all their ships at once. General Rodriguez nodded. How do we do that? She asked. Dr. Chen pointed to a map. We need to get a team onto that ship, she said, pointing to the largest alien ship hovering over the Atlantic Ocean. It was a crazy plan. But at this point, crazy was all they had. As night fell on the first day of battle, the situation was tense. The aliens had superior technology, but humans had surprised them with their resistance and resourcefulness. Cities were dark, lit only by fires and the flashes of ongoing battles. But in the darkness, there was hope. Humans hadn't given up. They were fighting for their home, their planet, their future. And they were just getting started. As dawn broke on the second day, both sides prepared for what was to come. The battle for Earth was far from over. But one thing was clear: humanity wasn't going down without a fight. The battle had been raging for a week. Earth was holding its own, but just barely. The aliens were strong, their technology far beyond anything humans had. But humans had something the aliens didn't expect: determination. In the underground base in Switzerland, Dr. Emma Chen hadn't slept for days. She was close to a breakthrough. She could feel it. Suddenly, her computer beeped. Her eyes widened as she read the screen. I found it, she shouted. General Rodriguez rushed over. Found what? She asked. Dr. Chen pointed to her screen. A weakness in their shields. If we hit it with the right frequency, we can bring down their entire defense system. The news spread quickly. This could be the turning point they needed. But there was a problem. To use this information, they needed to get close to the alien mothership. Very close. That's when Sarah Johnson, the brave pilot from New York, stepped forward. I'll do it, she said. I can fly a small ship close enough. It was a dangerous mission. Sarah would have to fly through a war zone, avoid alien ships, and get close enough to the mothership to activate Dr. Chen's device. The chances of success were slim. But they had no choice. It was Earth's best hope. As Sarah prepared for her mission, people all over the world held their breath. Everyone knew about the plan. It had been broadcast globally to give people hope. In New York, people gathered in Times Square, looking up at the big screens. In a small village in India, families huddled around radios. In Rio de Janeiro, Crowds on the beach watched the sky, waiting. Sarah's small ship took off at dawn. As she flew higher, she could see the devastation below. But she could also see signs of human resilience. Cities were rebuilding. People were fighting back. As she approached the alien mothership, alarms started blaring in her cockpit. They had spotted her. Alien fighters rushed towards her ship. "Evasive maneuvers," shouted General Rodriguez through the radio. Sarah's hands flew over the controls. Her ship ducked and weaved, barely avoiding the alien attacks. Back on the ground, Dr. Chen watched the data streaming in. "She's almost there," she said, her voice tense. "Just a little closer." Sarah's ship was hit. Smoke filled the cockpit. But she didn't give up. She pushed the ship harder, flying straight towards the mothership. "Now," Dr. Chen shouted. Sarah hit the button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a wave of energy burst from Sarah's ship. It hit the mothership and spread out, covering all the alien ships. Suddenly, the alien ships stopped moving. Their lights flickered and went out. They started falling from the sky. Sarah's ship was falling too. She had gotten too close to the mothership. As she struggled with the controls, she saw something amazing. All over the world, people were fighting back with renewed energy. In London, people were climbing onto disabled alien ships. In Tokyo, scientists were already studying the alien technology. In Cairo, children were playing on a fallen alien fighter, treating it like a new playground. As Sarah's ship plummeted towards the Atlantic Ocean, she smiled. She had done it. Earth had a chance now. Just before her ship hit the water, a rescue helicopter appeared. They had been waiting, hoping she'd make it this far. As they pulled her to safety, Sarah looked up at the sky. The alien ships were nothing but falling stars now. Back in the Swiss base, cheers erupted. Dr. Chen hugged General Rodriguez, both of them laughing and crying at the same time. All over the world, people celebrated. The aliens weren't defeated yet, but the tide had turned. Earth had shown the Galactic Empire that humans weren't to be underestimated. As night fell, bonfires were lit in cities and villages across the planet. People sang, danced, and shared stories of bravery. They had faced the greatest threat in human history, and they had stood strong. The battle wasn't over. But now, Earth had hope. And with hope, humans could do anything. The weeks following Sarah Johnson's brave mission were filled with both celebration and hard work. The alien invasion had been stopped, but Earth was changed forever. All around the world, people were working together to rebuild. The fallen alien ships became centers of study. Scientists from every country came together to understand the advanced technology. Dr. Emma Chen led this effort. She worked day and night, unlocking the secrets of the alien tech. "This could change everything," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. "We could solve world hunger, stop climate change, even travel to the stars." But not everything was easy. Some of the aliens had survived the crash of their ships. At first, people were afraid of them. But then something unexpected happened. In a small town in Brazil, a young girl named Maria found an injured alien. Instead of running away, she helped it. The alien was surprised by her kindness. This small act started to change things. More and more aliens began to surrender. They were lost, far from home, and many of them had never wanted this war. Humans, showing great courage and compassion, began to help them. General Rodriguez, who had led Earth's military defense, now had a new mission. She worked to create peace between humans and the aliens who chose to stay on Earth. It wasn't easy, but it was important. As Earth rebuilt, they also prepared. They knew now that they weren't alone in the universe. There might be other threats out there, but this time, they would be ready. Using the alien technology, humans began to build their own spaceships. These weren't just for defense. They were for exploration. Earth was ready to join the galactic community. Sarah Johnson, the hero pilot, was chosen to lead the first mission beyond our solar system. As she prepared for the journey, She thought about how much had changed. Just months ago, she had been a regular pilot. Now she was about to make history. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. One day, as Dr. Chen was studying the alien communication systems, she received a message. It was from other alien races, ones who had been oppressed by the Galactic Empire. They had heard about Earth's victory. They were inspired by humanity's bravery and unity. They wanted to form an alliance. World leaders met to discuss this offer. It was a big decision. Joining an alien alliance would change everything. But in the end, they agreed. Earth would join the alliance, but on their own terms. In a ceremony watched by billions, Earth's representatives met with aliens from a dozen different worlds. They signed a treaty creating a new galactic alliance. It would be based on peace, freedom, and mutual respect. As the alien representatives left Earth, they took with them stories of human courage and compassion. The story of how a small, seemingly primitive planet had stood up to the mighty galactic empire spread across the stars. More and more alien races joined the new alliance. The Galactic Empire, once so powerful, began to crumble as its oppressed worlds fought for freedom. Back on Earth, life was changing fast. Alien technology helped solve many of the world's problems. Clean energy, advanced medicine, and space travel became common. But humans didn't forget the lessons they had learned. They remembered how they had come together in the face of danger. They kept that spirit of unity and hope. As Sarah Johnson's ship prepared for its historic journey into deep space, she looked back at Earth. From space, you couldn't see borders or differences. It was just one beautiful blue planet. "We did it," she said softly. "We saved our home. And now we're ready for whatever the universe has in store for us." As her ship accelerated away from Earth, heading towards the unknown, a new chapter in human history began. Earth wasn't just a small planet anymore. It was a beacon of hope for the entire galaxy. The future was bright, full of challenges and opportunities, and humanity was ready to face it all, together.